The final stare down into the eyes of the last obstacle. 2 journeys of countless miles, hours of practice, and opposite sides of the bracket meet in the center of one mat. Thought submits to instinct. Strength, speed, technical mastery. At this point, these attributes can no longer be improved, but are faithfully depended on. 550 wrestlers have showed their diverse array of talents. 2 of each weight remain. Only one will have their hand raised beneath the bright white light of Battle High School and bear the name Wonder Woman. The fight for this collection of women's wrestlers goes beyond this tournament and began with the fight for their separate representation and the creation of their own sport.
One moment that really encapsulated my wrestling career was the moment I won state, jumping into my coach's arms and just knowing that every single minute of pain, of sacrifice, of sacrificing that social life, completely made up for that feeling right there. And so that was probably the best feeling I've had as an athlete.
Coach Cassidy Jasperson's experience is rare for her generation, as Texas was far ahead of the curve in sanctioning women's wrestling. Now, after Oklahoma has followed the example of fellow Midwestern states and officially doing the same thing, Coach's experience gives her a unique advantage.
I think an advantage I have as a younger female that's fairly fresh out of college is I can really relate to the girls and get on their level and really can take my experiences that are very recent and help guide the girls with those, my mistakes, things I've learned. So I think just being able to relate to girls and even be able to roll with them and get on their level is really helpful for teenage girls to have in their lives.
It's good having a young female coach because she is there for you and she practices with us every day. She makes sure we're ready and she makes sure that we are prepared for everything that we are trying to accomplish.
Being the first state champion in my weight class, it feels like an honor because no one will be able to take that title away from me. I worked really hard to be there and I feel like I deserve it.
Clearly, this state champion Broken Arrow team, very successful. Following this immediate success, and hoping to test themselves against competition across state lines.
I like big tournaments because you get to, at Oklahoma, wrestling is still very small.
The Broken Arrow Tigers would join 74 other teams to meet here in Columbia, Missouri, to participate in
a really outstanding, toughest tournament, girls tournament in Missouri, possibly the country.
An emerging powerhouse in the wrestling community. The tournament where young women go to get recognized.
It's definitely a little nerve-wracking. I feel like everyone's kind of on the same wavelength.
The one. The only. And it all starts with one man.
Do it live. Started wrestling in 1996 in high school. Wrestled all 4 years in high school. State placer in Missouri in 2000. Started coaching in 2002. 2007 went back to college as an old man. Wrestled 4 years at Missouri Baptist University. 2011-12 started coaching again. The first year since I'd say 2002 that I wasn't coaching or competing. I think that with our ability to bring the best girls in the state of Missouri, and I think by giving them their own platform and bringing in schools like Broken Arrow and Jay High School out of Oklahoma, Edwardsville out of Illinois. I think teams are starting to see around that this tournament, we're giving girls an opportunity to display their talents at a tournament where colleges are going to pay attention and they're going to see what's going on. And I think it's just, the bigger the tournaments, the better the competition, the sport has a better chance to grow and get better. You know, there's Ironman in Ohio, Beast of the East out on the East Coast. These are huge boys tournaments that are, you know, if you're the best, that's where you want to go. And our goal for the Wonder Woman is to be the tournament in the country to go to and just get the best of the best girls who might not be able to see each other on a different platform here in wrestling each other. The goal, I think, for anybody running a tournament is for everything to go smoothly, no hiccups. You know, we don't want to be here till midnight tomorrow night. We don't want to be here till 9 or 10 o'clock on Thursday. We want to get quality matches in. We want to get them done. I want the girls to have a good experience. I want the coaches to have a good experience. But I want to be able to showcase the positive things we're doing for women's wrestling.
That experience began at 8 a.m. the next morning when scales opened at Muriel Battle High School. As both gyms become more and more crowded, wrestlers take to the mats. Among them are familiar sights that would make any wrestler feel at home. Stance in motion. The jog lines for warm-up. The near ceremonious putting on of the oversized jacket. Everyone in the gym knows what that means. For some, they are just within reach of their weight class and are prepared to do whatever it takes. They are wrestlers after all. It's only worth it to the people that want it. All of these wrestlers, varying experience, different styles, different personal goals.
I'm Zoey Baby. This is going to be my second season wrestling, and I got 4th last year at sectionals. My goal is to do my best and not get hurt.
My name is Maria Slaughter. I've wrestled, this will be my 6th year, and I got 2nd at state freshman year and 4th last year. And everybody in the first year.
We're winning too.
Oh yeah,
We're winning. Yeah, that's enough.
And yet, there's only one belt in each weight class. Let's get going.
Wrestlers and coaches, please clear the mats. All wrestlers, all coaches, please clear the mats.
And the first matches are underway. We've entered round 1, and as the competitors lock arms, they enter the feeling out process, as everyone in the gym gets a feel for their opponents. Although each match is unique, this situation isn't. There's 6 battles happening on Battles Court at all times. It's almost impossible to focus on one mat, but that is the task at hand for each wrestler. Boom. Points are on the board. Once the first are scored, they come in bunches across the gym. The big tournament atmosphere provides a battleground aura. Nobody wants to leave with a loss in the first round. Wrestling is a brutal sport, and competition has a brutal law. For someone to get their hand raised, they have to take someone else out. And some aren't waiting for those 6 minutes to be up. They'd rather handle it themselves. One by one, victors emerge from their respective brackets. Through the chaos of day one, a few things have remained certain. 1. The championship herd has gradually shrank. Among those retaining their spots are some familiar logos, as well as some new faces in Missouri. Both of which are taking advantage of the opportunity to compete on the platform that this tournament presents.
I think having the Wonder Woman just an exclusively girls tournament that is this big, the promotion has been great. Bringing in coaches and teams from everywhere is incredible. I mean, we're seeing teams that we don't see year round, and I think that putting on a tournament like this is absolutely helping exposure. I'm seeing a lot of little girls around here already wearing their Wonder Woman t-shirts, and I think that's very cool. And just them being able to see all of these girls doing it and seeing that, hey, it's not that one girl on a boys team. Like, there's a lot of girls on full girls teams here today that are really solid wrestlers.
Even if you're not the best wrestler, just to get out here and get your face known, it's great practice and also challenge. So I think it's really good because it also lets college to see you and get your face and name out there.
By the end of day one, we're nearing matches between the best of the best. The large number of great entrants is being sifted out. Still, some have managed to tear through brackets like a knife through butter. Among the most dominant performances, Nixa's Ashlyn Eli. So far with 2 pins in the first round.
Honestly, it's great because Missouri, since my sophomore year winning state, I haven't really had that much competition, and so my matches get over pretty quick. But now that there's different girls from different states, it's pretty good to have somewhat of competition and actually maybe go through 3 periods. Before, I'm a little nervous, like I'm pretty sure everyone's nervous before their matches, but right when I step on the mat, I'm like, just go wrestle like I've been wrestling. And then if my dad's there, I'll look at my dad and he just gives me more confidence.
She'd carry that confidence into Ashlyn would kick the night off, facing off against the current tournament leaders, a member of the Lebanon Yellow Jackets. After a good scramble, she'd score first. Then look for the chicken wing. Easily the best move in wrestling. After this, she would not lose control until the end. It would spill out of bounds once. Finally, she'd secure the chicken wing, and this match would end like most of hers do. With a win for Nixa High School. Before the championship matches began, there were still quite a few loose ends that needed tying. For example, Lebanon decided they needed to extend the lead even further than they already had. Dominant performance after dominant performance. If you looked at a list, chances are there was an LEB somewhere on the page. They had all but won by the time the third place match had come out. Now, in the blood rounds, wrestlers like Keziah were leaving trails of eliminations behind them. She's been on a streak of pins. And would eventually earn 5th place as a 40-pound underdog. While the blood rounds and consolation matches took up most of the second day, it didn't occupy many of the second day wrestlers. Some have already clinched their positions in the championship match for their bracket. They now have more time to appreciate the underrated aspect of big tournaments: waiting. 550 wrestlers and even more parents are crowded across the school. Spending the day lying on the floor with your teammates is where real bonding happens.
I 100% agree, because everyone's like, you're talking about all your matches and how you're there, cheering them on, and it's just nice. Or you guys are like sitting on each other, giving each other massages. For me, personally, I always look at the bracket over and over and over again, and I see how they did their last match, and then I kind of just rest, chill, talk with my teammates, until it's
time to go perform. While the top 2 at each weight class have been anxiously awaiting their turn, the consolation competition has been duking it out. Front and center. Up close and personal. But as their time comes to an end, the gym begins to transform. The tape is being ripped free from the mats, no longer in use. One mat remains. This could only mean one thing. We have arrived at the ultimatum. Win or go home. Ladies and gentlemen, your championship bouts. As you'd expect from her previous performances, Ashlyn ends the initial scramble with points. Watching this on its own, you could tell these Missouri representatives were technicians. But these matches were made greater in the context of the last 2 days. Zoey, the Troy freshman, becomes the second person this week to bring Ashlyn to the second round. And she kept fighting. Those ridiculously quick pins weren't there. Ashlyn was able to score the takedown just before the extending her lead to 5-0. However, she's been dragged into unfamiliar territory for this tournament. The third round. Now, in control, she could seek to finish it here. She caught her opponent trying to get hand control and nearly punished him. She countered the first tripod, then the second, but then points on the board, time on the clock. Anything can happen. In the end, Ashlyn Eli was too strong a wrestler to be beaten by the underdog narrative. Ladies and gentlemen,
Your champion at 100 pounds from Nixa, Ashlyn Eli.
she got her wish, lasting through 3 periods and setting the bar for the rest of the night. That mold would quickly be broken, as some had only 2 words on their agenda: in and out.
For the championship at 135 pounds from Amitria, Mcnack.
For example, in case you missed one of Amitria Mcnack's other 75 pins, this is how she started her match. As soon as the next whistle blew, she was bent on making her opponent spend the entire match on bottom. Mcnack is your champion. No questions asked.
Your champ, 135 pounds, representing Amitria, Mcnack.
Just a few matches later, undefeated state champion Haley Ward would take the mat. She proved that streak would live a long while. Seconds. 159 is on lock. For those hoping for a heart attack match, the 149-pound final did not disappoint. Enter Seraphin Blackmon up against coming off a 12-second pin. Maria would go on the offensive, scoring the first takedown early in period 1. Then, after seemingly losing the advantage, she found her way to a headlock, only being stopped by an illegal hold call. Unbothered, she'd remain in control. Until she didn't. At the end of the first, our score is 4 for both wrestlers. In the second, Slaughter ran into barbed wire. The only escape was maybe the most impressive bridge of the entire tournament. Young wrestlers, this is textbook. Momentum would shift with Blackmon's weight, as the junior from Holt would catch her in the reversal and back points. They would remain here until the second ended. But there would be no pin. Heading to the third, Maria had an 11-9 advantage. After a lengthy review, the score would be reset and tied at 9. Someone would have to win this third period. Just when it was looking as if there was no way out, the full Nelson awards Slaughter one crucial point. Now back to the original plan. Hang on. And that's the match. The 149-pound championship goes to Maria Slaughter. What does it feel like to be a champ? Emotions are high as wrestlers begin to receive their awards. Both elation and dissatisfaction are present in the air, as wrestling remains the ultimate reminder that nothing is guaranteed, but nothing is impossible. Lebanon ran away with the team win by a blowout. But there was still so much to celebrate. Behind each belt, the pioneers that wrestled in boys' brackets and won. Within each champion, proof that the sport continues to grow exponentially. Maybe the best reward for the whole sport is that we'll be doing it again next year at the capital of women's wrestling, the Wonder Woman. Now, I'm asking everybody this question. What are your 3 main traits you look for in a wrestler?
Hard work, coachability, and someone who wants to have fun.
Thanks for sitting down with me.
I think 3 traits that make a great wrestler. One is grit. The other is humility, being able to take those losses and learn from it. And along with that, the third would be being a student of the sport.
3 traits that make a good wrestler: aggression, motivation,
Grit, work hard, and then a positive attitude.
determination. You have to just have a positive attitude. You have to have a positive attitude, and you have to definitely be easy on yourself. You know, and self-discipline, definitely.
Okay.
Self-discipline.
So you got to tell us about this 12-second pin I'm hearing about.
11 seconds.
11 seconds.
Yeah, that's I got a new record. I broke my last one, which was 12 seconds, and now it's 11.
So walk us through that whole match.
Okay, well, I snapped her down,
Okay.
and then I tried to get a cradle, and just kind of went flat, so I couldn't lock it up. So then I had a head and arm, and I just rolled it over. And I pinned
That's
it.
genius. That's immaculate. Okay, so now.
Thank you.